restore. We are here, coming to heal, help and restore. We are here to heal, help and restore. We are here to heal, help and restore. We are here.
So picking up on where we left off, one of the things that we've been looking at is Tamar. And as we're studying Tamar, we're studying somebody who is slowly and over time becoming damaged. And so the reason why we're going through this series and the reason why we're going through this at this particular time is because there's a great possibility you are encountering people day in and day out who are having issues and problems just with the things of life. And there's a great possibility that maybe you've gone through some things that have caused you to become damaged. And so it's important sometimes when you go through certain things, it needs to be identified. You need to be aware of your responses. So you didn't know that you respond that way when your heart gets broken. You didn't even know all those words were in you, and you didn't even know you had that type of anger. You didn't even know that you were vengeful or that vindictive until you got damaged. Sometimes what tragedy or problems will do, problems will expose that stuff that's inside of you. We was talking earlier on, whenever you squeeze something, whatever is on the inside is going to be able to come out. So you never squeeze an orange and apple juice come out, because apple juice was never put inside, right? And so sometimes when you are damaged and certain things happen to you, and you'll be surprised at some of the things that have come out. What we've studied and talked about thus far is that Tamar, if you would have asked Tamar earlier on, she would have said, I'll never be a prostitute. Sometimes you can go through certain things in your life, and if you ask Tamar at this stage, the Bible says she dressed up like a prostitute, and she stood on the way only to entice her father, and she was a prostitute for a day, because the Bible says she took the signet and she took his staff, right? She took his jewelry, she took his bracelets. She said, listen, I need you to give me something. He says, I'm gonna give you a kid, I'm gonna give you an animal, but in the meantime, she says, hey, listen, I need you to put a deposit down. And so what Judah did is he put a deposit down, and he gave her his jewels, and he gave her his staff, all of the things that reflect him. Matter of fact, if anybody was to come by and say, hey, Tamar, have you ever been with Judah? She now has the evidence to show me and you have slept together, because how other, this is Bible time, in today's time, they just take a picture, while you sleep, while you sleep. But she has the evidence. I know we've been together. I know we've been together. Somebody said, what evidence do you have to know that you slept with Judah? She said, I got his stuff. How else would I have his stuff? Can I tell you, and maybe some of you don't realize, a man just don't walk around giving his staff away. Yeah, a man's staff, that's a man's staff. You don't leave without your staff. And if a woman got your staff, then that already kind of shows the community, oh, okay, so y'all together. 'Cause who walking around with Moses' staff? Yeah, y'all seen the movie. Who walking around and opening the Red Sea? But Zipporah, only Zipporah, for those of you who know, that was his wife. Only Zipporah is gonna go walk around with his staff. Not only does she have his staff, she got his staff, she got his jewelry, right? She got his signet ring. She got the evidence. And so here she is, and now for just a day, she's prostituting herself. You'll be surprised what you do when your heart gets broken. You'll find yourself some places and you will operate outside of your character. Have you ever come to the consciousness of yourself, and you may be at a place, or you may be doing something, and it just hits you. And what you tell yourself is, I wasn't raised like this. If we were to go and interview your parents did not raise you to do these things. So if somebody says, well, then how did you get here? Sometimes you can get to a place because of anger, because of hurt. Man, you'd be surprised what a person do when they don't feel like nobody loves them. If I don't feel like nobody loves me, what I do with my body after that, it will be like night and day. You'll be surprised of how people operate when they feel like everybody hates them or that there's an enemy on every corner. It changes you to the point where stuff that was never an option, now it's an option now. Stuff that you would never consider, now you're what? Now you're considering it, right? Now you're considering it, and that becomes very dangerous. And so we talked about patterns, and one of the reasons that Tamar is in this situation is because she watched her father-in-law. And she watched how he moved. And I don't think that you're going to follow through with your promise. So because I don't believe that you're going to follow through with your promise, it caused her to do something with her life and her body she's never done before. And so one of the things that we talked about the difference between a person having trust issues and a person observing patterns. And there's a difference between I have trust issues, and there's a difference between me identifying and noticing patterns. If I see that you have a dysfunctional pattern, I actually need to back away from you because the way that you're moving is going to hurt me. If you've been hurt multiple times, and here's what's very important. When you see the same thing over again, and God is now giving you wisdom through pain, there's two ways to get wisdom. You can get wisdom through instruction, or you can get wisdom through pain. I'm encouraging you because it's much cheaper. Go ahead and listen. Just go ahead and pay attention, because pain, that tuition is high, right? The wisdom that you have, you can find yourself, this is people who are sick of their cycles, right? And sinful cycles is you find yourself in the same situation, different day, different time, different face, same situation. Have you ever been talking to somebody, and as you were talking with them, you said, I had this conversation before? Different face, same conversation. Different year, same outcome. And you find yourself, and you say, I'm this type of person. And so what you do is you're such a giving person, and you do this, and you do this, and you do this for this person, and you do this for this person, you do this for this person. And in the end, it's the same result. At some point, you got to back off and say, this is a cycle. Now, there's some cycles that I like. Some cycles, that you enjoy, like payday. It's a good cycle, right? Right? That's a good cycle. Payday is a good cycle. There's some cycles that are really good because what goes around comes around. So if you put love out and then love comes, that's a good cycle, right? You experiencing when it's a good cycle. Holidays, some holidays, it's a good cycle because the family gets together, love it, and they finna cook and do that. You finna have a good time. There are some anniversaries. There are some celebrations. Those are good. Matter of fact, you look forward to seeing those things again because it's a good time there. All cycles are not bad, but there are some cycles that are very dysfunctional. And those cycles are connected to your behavior and your investment and what you put in, right? And so when you get to a point where you say, I don't like this cycle that I'm in, at some point you got to look for the exit and get off that freeway. There's a freeway in Houston called 610. there's a freeway in Houston called 610. And so when I was learning how to drive, I was good through the neighborhood, but then I wanted to go across town, and I wanted to go see some other friends, go do some other things on across town. And so now that I had a vehicle, and so what I did is I jumped on 610, but I wasn't used to driving in Houston, and I got on this freeway of 610, and if you notice anything about 610 in Houston, it's just a circle all around Houston, right? And so I'm driving, and I missed my exit. I don't know what I was, because back then, because I was putting the tape in, I was trying to rewind. I was. I had to stop it. I had to stop it and rewind because I was trying to get to the song. I was trying to get to the song that I was trying, because, I'm in there by myself, and I had missed my exit because it had, because you have to put it twice. If you push it twice, it rewind real fast, and then you got to slow it down. So I had missed my exit because I was doing some other stuff, and so, and so, I was listening. Anyway, and so as I was driving, and then I noticed something. I was like, I said, I've seen this again. Now, my house is on the east side. So why am I seeing the east side again? Because when I left, I got on, and I'm finna head around, but I was supposed to be on the other side of town, but I had missed my exit. I drove a little ways, and now I'm back, and I'm seeing my streets again. I said, I'm lost. Now, here's the thing with a cycle. I'm lost, but I know where I am. I know where I am, but I don't want to be here, even though I know where I am. If you asked me where I was, I'd have told you, I'm in Houston, I'm on 610. Are you okay? I'm actually safe. I'm safe. I know where I am, but I'm lost, but I know where I am, and I don't want to be here, and I need to get off, but I'm aware of where I am. Ain't that a horrible situation? I'm familiar with but I don't want to be here. So I'm experiencing something that I want to stop experiencing, and I need to get off. And one of the problems that I'm having is, and what came to my attention is, I've been distracted, which is probably why I missed my exit. So now on this second go round again, I'm paying extra attention to the signs because I need to get off, because if I stay here, I'm gonna stay lost, even though I know where I am, but I'll never get to where I wanna be. So now I'm screaming on a highway, and I'm angry on a highway where I'm lost and found. All right. Isn't it funny? Isn't it funny? You go to certain places, and they'll have a box that says the lost and found, all in the same spot. The lost and the found are in the same. What they're saying is, you know what the little box that says lost and found? You know what they're saying? We found it, but it don't belong here, which makes it lost. We put it here because it was found, but the person who found it wasn't supposed to have it. So it's been found, but it's really lost, and somebody need to come in. How many of you are lost and found? You here, but you lost. You know where you are, but you're not where you want to be, even though you know exactly where you are. And you need to get off, right? You need to get off. And so a pattern, when you see a pattern, some people will accuse you of being evil or rude or mean or not being nice when you see their patterns. One of the best gifts that you can give yourself is stop ignoring the patterns that people show you. And so when you say, no, I've seen this before. No, I'm not doing this. I'm not doing this again. And here's the thing. What some people will tell you, it's not what you see, but they don't realize this your fourth go round. This your fifth go round on this same highway. Matter of fact, how the conversation going, matter of fact, you know what the person finna say next. I know you're confused. I get it. It's not me, it's you. I get it. I understand. No, I know what you're. Matter of fact, I've read this movie before. I know the script. Right? Right? You lost your keys. You're out of gas. You need a place to sleep. You want to stay here. You're hungry. Right? I know what you're finna say. Because I've been here at least 5 or 10 times before. I don't like the end of this movie. Do you know what I do with movies I don't like? I change the channel. Before we move on, don't let anybody make you feel guilty for changing the channel. And sometimes when you change the channel, it doesn't have, the next scene doesn't have them in it. And they make you feel guilty for not watching reruns. If it's a good rerun, I don't mind. But I'm not finna watch a rerun of a show I don't like. Have you ever seen somebody get up from a movie and they say, I haven't seen this before, and they get up and walk out? Because I don't want to see this again. I don't want to see this again. No. Turn that. You have something, no, turn that. And sometimes the way some certain movies go, you would be like, I know exactly where this is going. I didn't spend my money to come and watch this movie, and I can pretty much identify right now where this movie is going. And so this is kind of what we brought out. Matter of fact, we'll come back to that very quickly. Go to Exodus chapter 32. Exodus chapter 32 and beginning at verse 1. And when the people saw that Moses delayed to come down out of the mount, when the people saw that Moses delayed to come down out of the mount, the people gathered themselves together unto Aaron and said, Up, make us gods, which shall go before us. For as for this Moses, the man that brought us up out of the land of Egypt, we wot not what is become of him. And Aaron said to them, Break off the golden earrings which are in the ears of your wives, your sons, your daughters, and bring them unto me. And all the people broke off their earrings. Matter of fact, I want you to skip down to verse 7. And the Lord said unto Moses, Go get thee down, for thy people, which you brought us up out of the land of Egypt, what have they done to themselves? Y'all see this at the end of verse 7? What did they do to themselves? Hey, there's 2 ways to be damaged. There's 2 ways to be damaged. It's what other people do to you. And the second way for you to be damaged is what you do to yourself. It's one thing if somebody does something to you. I was at a Bible study just on yesterday with a group of individuals, and one of the things that came out, and I'll repeat tonight what I said to them on yesterday. Somebody can hurt you one time. Your daddy, your mama can say something to you that's very, very painful and very, very evil one day, and they hurt you. For the rest of the year, you repeat and rehearse what they said to everybody you meet. Now, here's what I don't like doing. I don't like talking about things that hurt me over and over again without progress. I want to say that again. I don't like talking about things that hurt me over and over again without progress. Now, I want to be very clear. I don't mind talking about things that hurt me if the goal is to make progress and to heal. But what I don't like doing is retelling a story of my pain over and over again just because you were curious to know what has happened in my life. There are some people who will intentionally ask you certain questions because they want to know all the dark things that's in your life. And you got to ask your question, why? Why are we talking about this? Where your license at? Now, if you ain't got a license, I don't know if you can help me. It just means that you're curious. Are we finna, after I tell you all my pain, are we finna pray after this? I just want to get to know you. Well, if you want to get to know me, my pain don't define me. My darkness and my dark days don't define me. Those were just days. If you really want to get to know me, we would need to discuss some other things. But don't try to put me in a box and define me and try to trace who you think I am by what other people did to me or the pain that I went through. So one of the things that I told him, I said, hey, stop telling your story by the offenses of other people. We gave everybody an assignment on tonight, and I said, hey, tell me a little bit about yourself. Don't start your story with her or him or them. That's not how God started you. Sometimes we start our story by the thing that hurts us the most. And what you don't even realize is that was one day, or maybe that was one season of your life, and that season is over. And that season is no longer you. You've made it and graduated from that. Why don't you start a new story? Why don't you tell? So one of the problems with Israel is that they got into a situation that God is trying to progress and bless them to move on. And guess what? They're stuck and they want to go back to who they used to. Hey, at some point, you got to stop talking about Egypt. At some point, you got to leave Egypt alone. If I've been trying to talk to you about Canaan land, then you have to embrace Canaan land, but you got to leave that behind. I don't like telling stories about painful things over and over again if there's no progress. If I didn't already cried about it and gave it to God and then I asked God for healing, then I need to be able to move on. And if I do need to rehearse the story again, it's going to be with those who going to either pray for me or who have the skill set to help me to break it down and navigate some stuff. But other than that, I don't retell the story unless you're going to pay me $16.99 for this ticket. You pay for the movie ticket, and they'll tell you stories all day long. Hey, at some point, you need to start charging people to start hearing about their past. Because it sounds like it's entertaining to you. It sounds like it's entertaining to you, and you want to hear about a horror story. Hey, tell me a horror story, a scary story. Well, I talk to you about my past relationship, but you got to pay a ticket. You have to pay a ticket for this entertainment, right? And so they got to a point where the children of Israel, they're stuck. And so because they didn't see Moses anymore, I want you to notice what they did. They didn't see Moses anymore. So they go to Aaron and says, why don't you make us? And the thing that they asked Aaron to make reflects where they came from. Like I said, there's two ways that you can be damaged. It's what other people do to you, and it's also what you do to yourself. Sometimes a person can hurt you, but what you do to yourself, many times is far worse than what they ever did to you. Some of us, we retell our pain like we quote in scripture. You didn't memorize You didn't memorize all of the lines of that event. Okay, I said this and you said that. Remember, I said that. Okay, and then they said this. Okay, so and then the next day this said, and you retelling every single line of something that no longer serves you. It doesn't even serve you to tell this. It doesn't even benefit you. It's not blessing you. It's not bringing you closer to God after you done expressed and went through all of this kind of stuff. I love what Paul says. Paul says, I don't care to know anything about you except Jesus Christ and him crucified. You know what Paul, the apostle, was saying to the church at Corinth? He said, hey, you're giving me too much extra information. We don't need all that extra information. If you ain't talking about Jesus and you ain't talking about him crucified, then we need to keep it moving. Sometimes you need to cut it short. The dialogue is too long. So you can sometimes damage yourself. Do you know sometimes we damage ourselves by remembering things that you should have put in the trash? Your phone has too much storage. That's why you can't download no more apps now, because you got too, you holding on to videos and pictures and images, and it's some stuff you need to let go. Why are you remembering that? That was 3 relationships ago. What you holding on to that for? Sometimes you gotta let some stuff go. Sometimes you gotta purge some things. And here's the thing, God had purged Israel of Egypt. But when they get in the wilderness, they're asking Aaron, can you make it again for us? Stop going back to the cloud. Stop trying to re-download. Stop trying to research and look up old stuff again. They said, hey, look at the middle verse. He says, up and make us gods which shall go before us. For as for this Moses, the man that brought us up out of the land of Egypt, we don't know what's become of him. So can you make something for us that looked like what we used to serve? Next verse. And that's when he said, okay, how did Aaron know how to do it? Because Aaron's from Egypt too. See, when God is trying to do a new thing, and the only thing that you have in this new day, it's a brand new year, y'all. Amen. But don't be in a brand new year with your last year's mind. You still got 2020 emotions in 2023. The way you felt last year is how you felt today. How? It's because you're rehearsing the same thoughts, you're on the same highway, pursuing the same things, and it's producing the same results. Hey, I'm gonna tell you, there are ingredients. You boil the water, put a little salt, put a little seasoning in there. You put the pasta in there, right? What are we about to do? We're about to make some spaghetti. What I'm trying to tell you on how to do it, you turn the stove on, you make it boiling hot. Put a little water in there, put a little salt, put a little seasoning in there, and then you put the pasta in there, and then we about to have some, right? What I'm trying to say is, you turn the oven on. Somebody said, no, you didn't change the steps. You finna get something different. Now you can do it in the oven, but just know it's gonna come out a little different because the steps are different, right? You know what we keep doing? Your life is an ingredient, and you keep bringing in the same steps and ingredients, which is why your life has the texture and the taste. Have you ever met somebody and you said, now you are just so sweet, and you want to sit with them and talk with them, right? Sometimes some elderly people, if you ever go to like the nursing home and you go, and there's some people got the sweetest spirit. Now, Miss Merle, and you're sitting down and you're having a good time, you're cleaning, and they could tell you some of the greatest life story, and the seasoning of their life is sweet, which after talking with them, how does it make you feel? You're like, man, I'm gonna come by and see you again. Sometimes we have loved ones and friends. Sometimes you have friends like that. And as a certain friend that you can get with, you don't have to say anything. The moment they walk in the door, you know it's on. Ah, okay, here we go, right? There are certain friends that you just connect with and y'all just have a synergy. It's the ingredient. You love being around that person. What's the ingredients that make up your life? And whatever you're feeling and going through right now, it is because you are grabbing the same ingredients. I know what you're doing. You're turning on the stove, you're putting the water in. And the reason why you're having spaghetti every night is because you keep doing the same thing. You're turning on the stove, you're putting the water in, and a little salt and the seasoning, and you put the pasta in. And this is what the steps that you do every day causes the flavor of your life right now. All right, so let's skip down for a little bit. And so the Bible says in Exodus, they were said, hey, make us gods. And so the Bible says, if you skip down to verse 7, we were in verse 7. And the Lord said unto Moses, go, get thee down, for the people which you brought out of the land of Egypt, they have corrupted themselves. Hey, listen, the damage that they're going through right now, nobody did it to them. So let me tell you the connection between Tamar and Israel. Tamar was waiting to be married, and she saw the pattern of Judah he's not going to honor. The difference between Israel was waiting on Moses to come down. I want y'all to see the connection. Tamar was waiting on Judah. Israel was waiting on Moses, and both were struggling. Both were struggling with patience and trusting in God, and both of them, Tamar and Israel, both decided, we're going to I'm not going to wait another day. I'm going to take this into my hand, and I'm going to try to fix this myself. All right? Here's what's difficult. When you can't wait on the Lord, you don't get your strength renewed. I want y'all to think about that. If you have a hard time waiting on the Lord, then your strength doesn't get renewed. You don't mount up. you don't mount up on eagle's wings if you can't learn to wait and trust on the Lord, right? And so God says to Moses, you got to hurry up and get down. They're damaging and they're hurting themselves, right? Have anybody ever taken something into your own hands, and after you took something into your own hands, you made your situation worse? And you justified what you did, and the reason why you justified what you did is because you talked about how long you were waiting on God. These scriptures are in the Bible so that you don't make the same mistakes that Tamar and Israel took. It's hard to wait on the Lord, but I promise you, it's so much better to wait on the Lord than for you to start making things by your own hands, because then you'll see the wrath of God. The Bible says in the next verse, we're in verse 8, God told Moses, they have turned aside quickly out of the way which I commanded them. They have made them a molten calf, and they have worshipped it. They have sacrificed thereunto and said, these be thy gods, O Israel, which have brought thee up out of the land of Egypt. I need you to also understand something about God. God operates by love, which means he doesn't force anybody to do anything that you don't want to do. So notice, God is literally tracking. Some people fuss at God and they get angry at God and say, well, God, if you knew this was going to happen to me, how come you didn't stop me? Love don't stop you like that, because love doesn't force. So if we're operating by love, I'm not here to force. I can only present myself to you. I can't make you take the presentation. If you don't want God, you don't want to pray, you don't want to study, if you don't want to dedicate your heart and your whole life to God, if you don't want to be on fire for the Lord, there's nothing I can do. One of the most liberating things that you can do for your life and for other people is let people make their own choices. It's not my job to fix you. It's not my job to be your cheerleader. It's not my job to make you do anything. My only job is to present. But if this is not something that you want, I gotta let you choose something else. Even if your choice is not me, I gotta let you choose. I gotta let you, and if the choice that you are making is gonna hurt yourself, sometimes you gotta let people hurt themselves. Hey, I just wanna let you know if you go that route, it's gonna be real painful. Is that where you want to go? God bless you on your journey. And there's a great possibility they're going to call you after they hit rock bottom. So you may want to change your voicemail. I want to thank you for calling. If you missed a call, please leave your name and number, and I'll call you back. If this is Bobby, I told you. And if this is Bobby, I told you, I'll talk to you on Thursday. Because sometimes that happens. So God is telling him, he says, hey, listen, this is happening, and these are all the things that they're doing. I saw what they were doing. Moses, you're with me. I saw what they were doing. I didn't stop them from doing it because it's in their heart to do it. But we got to stop this now because they are damaging themselves. We're in verse 9. And the Bible says, and the Lord said unto Moses, I have seen this people. And so this is one of the things that I emphasized on last time. When God says, I've seen this people, he's not just talking about this moment right now. What he's saying is, I know who you really are, and I know who you were, who you are, and I also see what you're going to do. See, some of the reasons why God gives some people grace, more grace than you think they deserve, is because God sees something about their heart you don't see. There was a wife who was frustrated with her husband, and she was like, I want him to be my best friend. And he was like, I ain't married you to be your friend. That ain't why I'm not trying to be your best friend. You can go have your best friend. I married you for other reasons, but I'm not trying to be your best friend. So she was trying to talk to him like a friend. And he was like, I ain't built for that. And he wasn't even trying to qualify. He wasn't even trying to be that for her, even though that's maybe what she wanted. Sometimes you'll have a person that says, hey, listen, I need you to, but you don't have the capacity for that. Right? And if you realize you don't have the capacity for that, say, hey, listen, I love you, but I can't do this with you because I'm not built that way. There are some people, you gotta know your gift. There are some people who are great listeners. There are some people who are great communicators, right? Now, just because you're a good communicator doesn't mean you're a good listener. It just means that when you get it, you can really talk and break it down. But it may take you a long time to get it. But boy, once you get it, you can really communicate, right? So there are some people who are really good listeners. There are some people who are really good communicators. There are some people who are great with hospitality or gratitude or giving people their flowers. There are some people who are really gifted at cooking. There are some people who are really gifted at decorating. And the people who really good at decorating ain't got no business in the kitchen. You need to stay out of the kitchen, but you can decorate really good. But then there are some people, they can really, really cook, but they can't put colors together. You gotta know your gift. And then you gotta stay in your lane. You right? You gotta stay in your lane. And that's the case also for certain people. If you need me for something and you have a need, if I love you and I identify that, hey, I love you, but I need to let you know I can't fulfill that for you. And because I cannot fulfill that for you, I want to do what we can so you can get your needs met where I'm not the source of all things. Now, and then here's what's dangerous. Sometimes you can give somebody an opportunity to receive what they need, but they have it in their imagination. They'll say, no, I want all my needs met by you. Don't ever let anybody put you on such a pedestal where they say, hey, listen, there was a person who said, they needed to know the gospel. So, okay, we'll get you a teacher. They said, no, I don't want to teach you. I want you to teach me. Well, okay, well, I don't know, but we can get you what you, no. I want, sometimes you do that with certain restaurants. They'd be like, oh, we have a table right here and that's where your waiter. They'd be like, we'll wait an extra 20 minutes. We want that waiter right over there. Why do you want that? Many times because of service or whatever, but there are some people who would say, I want you to be my all in all. Don't let nobody do that to you. Because it's tiring, exhausting, and you'll end up feeling drained. Because in your mind, you're like, I really want to help. And then you find out everybody who complains don't want it to be fixed. Some people like complaining. Hey, what's going on? Well, let me tell you what happened today. Can't do this today. Nah, can't do this today. I was having a good day, actually. We can't do this. And then you know what you'll end up doing? You end up stop asking people how they doing. Hey, Tom. You used to say, hey, Tom, what's going on? That's what you used to say. Now it's, hey, Tom. You stop asking all questions. Why? Because there are some people, the reason why they're angry with you because you're trying to fix it, because once you fix it, they got to get off the freeway. Some people enjoy the freeway. They like because it's familiar, and I know where this goes, right? Some people like the attention they get from being damaged. They don't want to be made whole. You understand what Jesus said in chapter 5 when Jesus told him, say, hey, what do you want? Do you want to be made whole? Do you want to be healthy? So I said, well, that's obvious. He's already sick and lame. Of course he would want to be. No. Jesus was wise. You got to ask the question because there's some people that you heal and they'll sue you. They'll sue you because you bandaged them up without their permission. How dare you? How dare you? There are some people who are homeless. They don't want jobs. They don't want jobs or home. They said, no. There are some that said, no, I'm good. If you offer them, now there are many, they just down on their luck. But there are some people who be like, no, I actually voluntarily let all that go. No, I abandoned where I was because I didn't want, some people don't want the responsibility. There was a gentleman one time and he went to a poor community and he realized that there was a particular family, they didn't have a refrigerator. Now, while he was sitting there talking with the family and whatnot, they didn't complain about not having a refrigerator. He just noticed they don't have a refrigerator. He was like, his heart was so heavy. So what he decided to do, he decided he was gonna buy them a refrigerator, brand new refrigerator. He got it delivered to the home and got it delivered, got them a refrigerator. He said, now you can keep all your food and all that kind of stuff there. He went away and so he went back and because he did some missionary work and whatnot, he went back to that community. And when he went back to that community, he found out that the refrigerator was gone. And he came in, he said, where's the refrigerator? He said, I know you had a refrigerator. They said, oh, we sold it. And they did some other stuff with it. And so here they are, months later, back living in the same situation. This is a cycle. You want this cycle because you're doing things to stay in this state. This is the reason why it looks this way. It's because You keep turning on the stove, putting the water in, putting the salt in, and you finna have spaghetti. I know what we eating. You finna have spaghetti again tonight, because you're moving the same way. And for some people in their mind, you know what they say? They say, well, this works. Okay, I get it. It works for you. But I need something different. I'm gonna need a little something, some chicken, something that died. I need something that used to talk. Yeah, because I need something that used to talk and live. Something that fought. If you get offended because I can't do something, you're really not my friend. If I'm telling you I'm not in a good space and you get angry because I'm not my best, or something is too much for me and you catch an attitude with me, this relationship is not genuine. Because if I really love you and you tell me about your capacity, I'm gonna respect that and be like, my bad, I know this a lot. I'm gonna call you back later. I'm not gonna be angry. That's like me saying, hey, you got $100 on you? You ain't got $100. Why are you you're angry with me because I don't have something. Now, I just mentioned something physically, but what I'm trying to tell you is I don't have something emotionally. Like emotionally, I'm drained and I don't have what you're looking for. You can't be angry with me if you're asking for $100 worth of emotional energy and all I got is 60. And I need my 60 for something else. I can't spend it over here because there's a thing called emotional currency. Right? And you only have so much energy to deal with certain things today. Have you ever told somebody, I can't do this today? I can't have this conversation. Let's talk about this later, because I'm dealing with some other stuff. All right. As we wrap up, I want you to see how God addressed Moses. And the Lord said unto Moses, I've seen this people. And let me tell you something about their spirit. He's not talking about their physical neck. He said, let me tell you about their spirit. They're stiff-necked people. Here's what a stiff-necked person is. They do not bend. They won't turn around. This group of people, they're going to be right back, turning on the stove, putting the water in the pot, putting a little salt, and you ain't going to have pasta again tonight. They stuck. God says, I see these people. You know the type of people that I like being around? The type of people I like being around is when they hear the truth and they yield to the truth. That's not stiff-necked. A stiff-necked person says, they see the truth and they be like, well, so I'm gonna keep doing it anyway. It don't matter what you hear. If somebody tell you, hey, you really need to buy this book, and if you buy this book, it'll help your business. I like being around the people who go immediately and go buy the book. I like to be around people when they say, hey, listen, if this stuff that you've been drinking is actually making you sick and it's increasing and it's making you unhealthy. I like the people who say, well, I'm done with that. A stiff-necked person says, I don't care what they say, I don't care what they do, I'm gonna keep doing this because it made me feel good and I'm gonna keep doing it. And they don't operate by truth, they operate by emotions. Anybody who operates by emotions and they don't operate by the truth ends up becoming a stiff-necked person, which means God has to orchestrate a special storm just for you to break your neck, just so you can be able to see that He's almighty. And if I'm close to you, then that means I'm going through all these storms with you, wondering, what's the problem? And in the mentality that, hey, if I'm here to help, he's trying to tell Moses, hey, listen, I know about these people. If you stay close to these people, you finna get what they finna get. It's difficult being around people who damage themselves, because eventually, guess what's gonna happen? They're gonna damage you. Or you'll pick up their habits and you'll end up wounding yourself like they've wounded themselves. That's why you should be attracted to healthy places, healthy conversations, healthy people. Minister to the broken, don't live among them. Minister to the damaged, but come out from among them and be ye separate, right? So I work over here, I live over here, I minister over here, but I laugh and dwell over here. You cannot work and live in the hospital. You cannot work and live in the same place and expect to stay healthy. You're gonna mess around and get sick. You can't work in an infectious ward and then after work take off your garments and then sit down and watch television in the same place that you've been helping the sick people in. People coughing and doing all this kind of stuff all over, and you helping. You say, "Oh, when my shift is over," and then you tell one of them, "Scoot over. This is one of my bed," and you gonna lay down and take a nap in the same place. You can't do it. Some of us, we damaged because we working and living in the same toxic environment. And some of us, we have picked up habits where you're damaging yourselves because that's what you saw your mother do, or your grandmother do, or your grandfather, or the people in that's what your brother did, and that's what your sister did. And so you end up picking up their habits, and now you're wounding yourself, wondering why your heart is bleeding, why you're crying, why you're angry, and why you're on this horrible highway and you can't get off. Verse 10. He says, "Now therefore, let me alone." God is telling Moses, "Leave me alone and let my anger get hotter." We may have to come back to this. God is saying, let my anger, hey, Moses, don't bother me. Let me get to the point where I need to do what I need to do with these people because I know them. Let my wrath wax hot against them that I may what? Leave me alone and let me get in posture and position so that I can, notice, not work with them. Even God knows when I gotta let these people go. Do you know when to let people go? Do you know when to let, hey, when you arguing back and forth with somebody and you end up having the same argument, you end up talking about the same stuff over again. You going back and forth talking about respect. And you talking about respect every day. Well, you disrespect and you respect her. Hey, at some point you'll be like, you know what? You don't get it. Kill the desire to try to make everyone understand. That will drive you insane. Some people like ignorance. Some people know exactly what you're saying. They like to play dumb. I don't get it. And now you go for another 45 minutes trying to explain how this was disrespectful. How could you do that? And you end up having the same conversations with people. And then after 45 minutes to an hour of re-explaining a conversation you didn't already had 10 times. And then they say, "Oh, that's what you mean." And now you getting off the phone angry and throwing things, and you done lost your peace, and you're angry with yourself that you've exerted this much energy into somebody who really don't even have the capacity. Either they don't have the capacity or they don't have enough love for you to want to get it. And as long as they play dumb, you stay in your position trying to explain while making deposits. At some point, you gotta let silence take over. The ministry of silence. Well, I don't understand what you're trying to say. I believe that. I really do. I believe you don't. I believe you don't get what I'm trying to say. Well, make it clear. It's probably going to be as clear as it's going to be. It's probably be as clear as it's going. You ever hear some people say, "Let's agree to disagree"? Yeah. At some point, I'm okay with you not understanding. I'm okay with you not getting it. God is going to consume them and they haven't heard a sermon yet. God is not telling Moses, you need to go preach to these people. He said, no, they ain't gonna even receive that. I gotta let this go. Some conversations are not worth having. I'm not gonna argue with you. I'm not gonna go back and forth with you. Because if you had the right spirit, you would have initiated and even put the effort forth to even try to understand. But I see you like being on the freeway. And I gotta get off my exit. Matter of fact, I see my exit right up here. I'm about to head home. Then he says at the end of the verse, let me consume them. And then he says this, and I will make you a great nation. The last time I remember God talking like that is when he was talking to Abraham. And he told Abraham, notice what he told Abraham, and then we done. He said, I need you to leave all your kindred and all your family. You can't take them with you. If you leave them and disconnect yourself, I'll make you great. What if your blessing of multiplication is when you separate yourself from things that God is not willing to bless? And when you show God that you're willing to separate yourself from things that do not bring him glory and do not serve him, and they don't serve you. When Abraham was willing to leave, God said, I'm gonna bless you. Right? If you're here on tonight and you realize maybe there's some stuff that I need to let go, you know what, Brother Williams, you're right. I'm having too many instances of the same conversation with different faces, same topic. I want to be honored. I want to be respected. I want to be treated a certain way. But I'm not getting it. I'm having the same conversations. I need to get off this freeway. If you look at the ingredients and the texture of your life and you're saying to yourself, you know what, I don't like this spaghetti, then maybe on tonight you need to change the ingredients or how you're moving and how you're operating. Remember, on tonight, there's two ways to be damaged. There's the things that you allow people to do to you, or the things that they just do, sometimes behind your back. But the other way to be damaged is the things that you do after to yourself, or sometimes after the offense. And you'll end up hurting yourself, or what God told Moses is they've corrupted themselves. Some of us, we're worse to ourselves than what anybody ever could do to us. If you would just treat yourself better, that could even enhance the healing process. Amen.
The Lord is praying for his church, that we might all be one, that we might all be one. Oh, that we might all be one. Oh, that we might all be one. Say the Lord.